A new era is dawning in global economics. It's 2024, and while the world is busy catching up with daily news cycles, the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are proposing potentially impactful changes to the financial landscape. They're creating a new currency, ready to challenge the mighty US dollar. This is not just about money, it's about shifting the power of the world, and the outcome could change everything. Let's pull this apart with Politalysis. At the heart of this initiative lies one pivotal aim: de-dollarization. The BRICS nations have long expressed discontent with the global financial system, a system largely dominated by the US and its currency, which accounts for 90% of all currency trading. Now, with a new currency that might be backed by gold, the BRICS countries are rising up to challenge the power of the US dollar, and they have the strength to do it. Many experts view this new currency as a step toward a multipolar financial world. Supporters believe this new currency could offer countries an alternate to Western-influenced financial systems, but others warn it might be a big dream full of huge problems, like money issues, politics, and even how it'll all work. The goal isn't just to create another currency, but to forge a system that allows for greater sovereignty in financial transactions. A BRICS-led alternative to the US dollar-dominated society for worldwide interbank financial telecommunication. Russia, cut off from SWIFT following its invasion of Ukraine, has already been experimenting with alternatives. Now, this new BRICS currency is set to operate using the BRICS Bridge payment platform, a supranational system designed to facilitate trade using the national currencies of BRICS nations. So what does this mean for the US dollar? Is this a potential shift away from the dollar as the sole global reserve currency? The development of a BRICS currency is especially relevant for Russia, which has encountered economic isolation following its 2022 invasion of Ukraine. With restricted access to the SWIFT banking system and facing Western sanctions, Russia has been exploring alternative economic partnerships and trade routes. A BRICS currency could provide a useful mechanism for facilitating trade within the bloc without relying on the US dollar or SWIFT, potentially reducing Russia's dependency on Western-led financial systems. For Russia, as well as other BRICS members, the currency aligns with broader goals of fostering resilience in global finance through non-Western alliances. This currency initiative intersects with China's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, which aims to strengthen trade routes across Asia, Europe, and Africa. The BRI provides physical networks for trade, while BRICS financial systems, such as the proposed BRICS Bridge, could offer complementary economic infrastructure to support transactions within the BRI network. By facilitating trade with less reliance on Western financial channels, the BRICS bloc could strengthen ties with emerging economies along with the BRI. This alignment of financial and physical infrastructure reflects a multipolar approach to global trade and finance, emphasizing diversification rather than reliance on a single economic power. To understand the potential impact, we need to revisit the circumstances that gave the US dollar its supremacy. After World War II, the Bretton Woods Agreement established the dollar as the world's primary reserve currency, backed by gold. Even after the US abandoned the gold standard in the 1970s, the dollar maintained its dominance due to its size and stability of the American economy and its pivotal role in global oil trade. But now, as BRICS nations introduce their new currency, which some speculate could also be backed by gold, the very foundations of the dollar's supremacy are being questioned. BRICS nations represent more than 40% of the world's population and roughly 25% of global GDP. The idea of a new currency gaining traction within such an influential bloc has the potential to disrupt international markets, weaken the dollar, and introduce new dynamics in global trade. The new currency, referred to by some as the R5, named after the initial letter of each BRICS currency, isn't just about practicality. It's a political statement. By reducing their dependence on the dollar, BRICS countries aim to create financial systems less influenced by U.S. monetary policy and the sanctions that often accompany it. In recent years, sanctions have become a go-to tool of U.S. foreign policy. Russia and China, in particular, have borne the brunt of these measures, which is why they're most vocal about the need for an alternative. China and Russia, as two of the main advocates of de-dollarization, argue that it's time for a currency that can't be manipulated by Western governments. And they aren't alone. Over 30 countries, many from the global south, have expressed interest in joining BRICS or adopting this new currency, hoping to lessen their reliance on the dollar and the financial system that it underpins. However, implementing a new currency is no small feat. Unlike the euro, which came after years of political integration and economic alignment among European nations, the BRICS countries are a diverse group with different political systems, economic strengths, and growth trajectories. Getting them to all agree on the framework of a new currency, let alone making it functional, is a monumental challenge. Experts are divided on whether the BRICS currency can realistically replace the dollar. Some argue that without the political unity and economic convergence that Europe had, BRICS will struggle to maintain the value and stability of their currency. They point to the economic disparity within the bloc. China's economy dwarfs that of South Africa, for instance, as a significant hurdle. Others believe that the willingness of these nations to collaborate and innovate in response to shared challenges could lead to surprising success. In the meantime, the U.S. isn't standing still. Facing the prospect of losing its dominance, the American government is making moves to bolster the dollar. During a recent presidential debate, former President Donald Trump vowed to impose heavy tariffs on countries that move away from the dollar. This policy, which he frames as defending American interests, could create further rifts in global trade relations and push even more countries into the arms of BRICS. Trump isn't alone in viewing the BRICS currency as a threat. Financial experts have warned that if the BRICS currency gains traction, it could weaken demand for the dollar, trigger inflation, and impact interest rates in the U.S. The ripple effect could lead to a weaker dollar, increased costs for imports, and a destabilizing effect on the global economy. Yet, BRICS isn't just focused on traditional currency. They're also looking into digital currency and blockchain as part of their strategy to bypass Western-dominated financial systems. The BRICS Bridge payment platform is intended to connect central bank digital currencies from member nations, providing an independent, transparent, and secure method of international trade. This brings up another controversial point: control. Critics argue that BRICS nations, particularly China and Russia, may use this new financial system to exert influence over weaker members, effectively creating a new kind of financial dependence. Supporters, however, see it as a necessary step towards financial freedom from a system that has disproportionately benefited the West for decades. For now, much of this remains speculative. The R5 currency, the BRICS Bridge, and digital currency integrations are still in the planning and implementation phases. But the fact that these discussions are happening, and at such a high level, is already sending shockwaves through financial markets. Is this the end of the US dollar as we know it? Not yet. The dollar still enjoys immense trust and credibility worldwide, and dismantling that is not an overnight process. But it's clear that the world is witnessing a challenge to the established order, and that's enough to make investors, politicians, and economists take note. The BRICS nations are striving for a more equitable financial landscape, one where they aren't beholden to Western sanctions, interest rates, or economic policies. Whether they succeed in creating a viable alternative to the US dollar remains to be seen. What's certain, however, is that the BRICS countries are actively pursuing this idea, and its success or failure may influence the global economy for decades. The world is at a crossroads. The US dollar has enjoyed decades of dominance, but the cracks are beginning to show. As BRICS pushes forward with its plans, the question isn't just whether they will succeed, but how the rest of the world will respond. Will other countries join the BRICS bloc and abandon the dollar? Will the U.S. adapt to maintain its dominance, or will it resist the change and risk isolation? One thing is clear: global economics will never be the same again. The fight for financial dominance is on, and the world is watching. The BRICS currency is here, and while it may not topple the dollar tomorrow, it's a bold statement of intent. The age of a unipolar financial world is coming to an end.